All right, so our last chapter here, this is the one we just tested on, so hopefully you guys realize that that hopefully this is going to come back to you a little more quickly. I do want to reiterate that there was 2 questions on this review, 43 and 44 you could skip, because we didn't talk about point slope form just for time. So I'm going to write it on here just in case you missed that, so you can skip 43 and 44 on the review. We didn't do point slope, so if you didn't hear me yesterday, you didn't cross that off or you weren't here. We talked about slope-intercept form and be able to write equations in slope-intercept form. So we already wrote down those 2 formulas, so we don't really need to write them down again. So be able to write equations in slope-intercept form. I'll write it again just in case. So on the exam, obviously I'm not going to tell you what that form is, but that's slope-intercept form. I'm going to do maybe a quick example with 2 points. So these are our 2 points, and we're going to write the equation of the line that goes through those 2 points in slope-intercept form. And this is kind of one of the tougher problems we do with these, so it kind of goes through all the steps. I'm hoping this now kind of feels like kind of a little bit of review or a bigger review, but at the same time, some of you guys didn't do awesome on the test, so maybe you need a little bit more review. Now, in order to do this one, I do need the slope formula. So I'm going to put everything in for our slope formula. Thank you. And Justine, we're just starting chapter 5. I can get chapter 4 to you though as well. So I'm putting those values in. And I end up with my slope being a -2. When I simplify that. Then once I know my slope is -2, then I'm going to choose one of these 2 points as my x and y. And it doesn't matter which one I choose. And I'm going to find my b. So I find out my b is -1. So then my equation in slope-intercept form is -2x plus 1. Or -1, sorry. And then the only other really big thing that we have to make sure we write down here is parallel and perpendicular lines. So in a minute I'm going to flip the page just because I'm kind of running a little bit out of space here. But parallel and perpendicular lines and what we know about their slopes. So we will write an equation of a line from parallel or perpendicular. So once you guys are ready, I'm going to flip the page here. Thank you. Yeah, just waiting for it to be done writing. All right. Then, like I said, parallel and perpendicular is the other 2 we're going to talk about here. So parallel has the same M, and we'll take that M out of there, but a different B. So I don't want to use their B at all. But then remember, perpendicular, we have to flip it and change the sign. So M, it's the opposite reciprocal. Which means you flip it and change the sign. Sorry, flip fraction. And then we do still find a new B. So don't use their B. It could be the same B, but don't use theirs. Do we want an example of either of those? Okay. And again, there are a couple on the review with these parallel and perpendicular, but I definitely would write that down somewhere on my note card. And then remembering, so like David was asking, can he write anything I put up here on his note card? Perfectly fine. You can also take, not pictures, sorry, you can take things off your review and put it on your note card. So if you're like, ooh, this question off my review, I'd really like to have that on my note card, you just have to transfer it over. So you just have to write it or draw it onto your note card. As long as you're putting things on your note card, you can put whatever you want on there. If you want like a little graph, you can always put a graph on there. I just ask that you just like handwrite things, so that like you're filling it out. Okay? Questions? That is really it. I don't know if that's. So, but that's why you get the note card. So use that. Please do not show up with a blank note card tomorrow. Please do not show up with a blank review tomorrow. Both of those things are things I've given you guys time to work on. Both of those will help you for the exam. Obviously, the review will give you points for your overall grade, but you need to make sure you're understanding, okay? So, questions? Okay. So the review is due for the exam. Bring your note card, bring your calculator, bring any missing work that you want to get credit for before you guys take your exam.